So, after searching every corner of the internet to find theaters and showtimes, getting a few hours off work, being lucky enough to live within driving distance of one of these places, clicking my heels together and making sure the fucking planets were aligned, I finally got to see Equestria Girls. Now, as with all my reviews, there is a spoiler warning in effect, though to be honest, if you've seen the trailers, there really isn't that much to spoil. In fact, the movie seems to be counting on that as it begins in the Crystal Empire and then shows human silhouettes of all the characters during the opening title sequence. So, going in, you already know how this is going to play out. Twilight gets her crown stolen by Sunset Shimmer, a former student of Princess Celestia who turned evil. Twilight and Spike follow her through a magic mirror into an alternate universe filled with human counterparts to all the ponies. Twilight has to get her crown back by going to high school and being crowned princess of the whatever dance thingy. Yeah, I still don't care. So she befriends human versions of the other main five, has a big showdown with Sunset Shimmer, and the day is saved with the power of friendship. So here's some of the stuff that I liked. The movie starts off with Twilight coming back down to reality after the season 3 finale. She starts asking questions like what if she has to rule her own kingdom, and is she even up to the task? And despite giving Magical Mystery Cure a big dramatic send-off by spreading her wings and flying out towards the audience, we see that more realistically, she isn't quite that graceful just yet. In fact, she can't even sleep at night because she keeps getting wing boners. Yeah, really. I also really like how it's made clear that the characters in the human world aren't always the same as their pony counterparts. They all have their own unique traits and personalities. Snips and Snails are Sunset Shimmer's henchmen now, and here they just love being evil. And Principal Celestia is a completely different character altogether, though she still manages to channel her alicorn spirit long enough to give Twilight her lesson at the end. I also appreciate how even in the human world, there's still a fantasy element to the story, so it still expands the lore of the show's universe instead of only focusing on the school dance. Aside from that, the songs are really catchy, the animation looks great. In fact, they even moved the alternate universe mirror from Canterlot to the Crystal Empire because they knew there would be a movie apparently. And I like how part of the ending really hits one of the most important points of the entire series, that the lessons it teaches can be applied to real life. In fact, in that sense, the high school setting is kinda brilliant. We learn that Sunset Shimmer built herself up by driving everyone else apart, even though the different groups in the school seem to be getting along just fine when she's not around. In any case though, Twilight wins everyone over by uniting them and saying, yeah, we're all different, but we can still work together, even if that just means helping the new girl because everyone hates this other bitch who's also the most popular girl in the school for some reason. And it even draws a parallel between the different cliques in the school and the 6 main characters that we're already familiar with. And I have to confess, I've never really understood the whole idea of school spirit. It just always seemed really hokey and arbitrary to me. So kudos to this movie for actually kinda sorta helping me get it for the first time ever. There were also a couple of things that really surprised me here. The first was Spike. Now, despite the controversy over him being turned into a dog, he's actually the voice of reason for most of the movie. It almost seems like they were trying to make up for all the crap he got during season 3, but in any case, he's definitely one of the big highlights here. The other big surprise was that despite my original issues with the new designs, there were a number of times when the human characters were even more adorable than the ponies, especially Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash. I mean, seriously, how do you even do that? So, what's the downside to all of this? Well, to begin with, pretty much every bad thing that fans were afraid might happen did. Yes, most of the focus is on the high school bullshit, though it's actually more like a K-12 school since we keep seeing Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon, and the Cutie Mark Crusaders all over the place. Yes, it tries to copy High School Musical, though High School Musical actually had better choreography than this. Yes, it's more pandering to the target demographic, because why would you show Rarity's fashion sense as a form of artistic expression when instead you can just make her throw a bunch of sparkly shit at the screen while the other characters all clap their hands and giggle like idiots. Oh, by the way, did you think the humans having pony skin colors is weird? Because they also have the same names as their pony counterparts. Yeah, because in real life it makes so much sense to name your kid Fluttershy or Flash Sentry. And speaking of which, yeah, they go there, and it's horribly, horribly awkward. There is also a pony version, but Twilight first becomes attracted to him as a human, which means all the human on Pony Rule 34 is now canon! Though it turns out I was wrong about one thing before, Flash is actually played by Vincent Tong, not Andrew Francis. And apparently Vincent Tong also played Prince Blueblood. Yeah, just take a moment to let that sink in. They hooked up Twilight with Prince Blueblood. Yeah, moving on. There's also a lot of fan service here, which is certainly appreciated, but it does go too far sometimes. There are a few too many scenes where the characters get right in your face like, do you get it? It's just like the other time that thing happened, right? Look, we're gonna make Rainbow Dash say that's so awesome 50 fucking times just in case you missed it the first 20 times. And overall, there are a lot of parts that suffer from lazy writing, or it seems like some parts of the movie don't know what other parts of it are doing. It makes sense for Twilight to be awkward about using computers or vending machines because she doesn't have those where she comes from. But why does she keep messing up when it comes to things like saying the word school or everybody when she's already proven on the show that she can do that just fine? Do you want another example? Early on, we find out that Fluttershy found Twilight's crown and turned it into the principal's office. So Twilight goes there and asks if anyone turned in a crown, and Celestia says, yes, why? And then Twilight says, oh, no reason. Spike then asks the screamingly obvious question of, why didn't you just tell her the crown was yours and you want it back? To which Twilight basically says, oh, you know, because then the movie would only be 10 minutes long. I'm gonna be princess of the school dance in 2 days, even though no one here knows who I am because my alternate universe double conveniently goes to a different school. Woo! I mean, it's part of the reason I like Spike so much, but it's a really bad sign when the movie starts pointing out its problems for me. There's even a part at the end where they make kind of a joke about the ponies not knowing what hands are, and then 2 seconds later, Spike comes through the portal and looks at his hands. Seriously, who planned that out? Though perhaps the biggest and most unfortunate problem is with Sunset Shimmer. She had the potential to be a really interesting villain, and she's even played by Rebecca Shoykett, who also does the singing voice for Twilight. But aside from a brief explanation from Celestia, we don't really learn anything about her. She doesn't even do that much throughout the movie except act like a bully, so when her big plan is revealed at the end, it kinda comes out of nowhere, and not in a good way like the Changelings. In fact, I'll even say she's a weaker villain than King Sombra. At least with him, we could see that he was legitimately evil ahead of time. We do get one hint earlier that Twilight's crown will do all sorts of crazy magical stuff because it's in the wrong universe, but again, they don't spend enough time with that. This movie really needed to do more to build up the villain and to explain how the elements of harmony are supposed to work in this other world, because honestly, I was intrigued when that stuff came up. But it's like they got to the end and went, oh shit, the movie's almost over! Quick! Explain everything! As it is, it just sounds like Sunset ran away when she was 5 because she didn't get what she wanted. So remember that, parents, and be sure to buy your kids all the toys they want, especially the horrible-looking Equestria Girls dolls that don't even have anything to do with this movie. Now, if it sounds like I'm being overly harsh, it's because I've taken the show to task for much less, and frankly, it would be dishonest if I didn't give the movie fair treatment. But I also want to make it clear that I did enjoy myself, and if anything, I really don't think the problems that I've talked about were as bad as a lot of people were afraid they were going to be, but they are still important problems worth addressing. In the end, this movie was cute and fun, and I'm glad that I saw it, but by the standards of My Little Pony, and even compared to other high school themed movies aimed at kids, there's really no reason why this shouldn't have at least tried to be better. I give Equestria Girls a 6 out of 10. As for how this held up as a theatrical experience, I have to admit it really felt more like a straight-to-DVD release, but aside from the fact that the bulb in the projector was crapping out, aside from the fact that I have no idea why they were in the Crystal Empire to begin with because the sound didn't come on for the first 2 minutes, despite the fact that a couple of parents brought a baby into the theater and sat very close to me. Yet parents, please don't do that. You're bringing your baby into a dark room full of flashing lights and loud noises. Yes, it's going to start crying. It happens every time. No one else in that theater made you have a baby, so be responsible and take your kid outside. But, despite all of that, I still have to admit it might have been worth it just to see everyone completely lose their shit when Derpy appeared during the end credits.